It was a crisp autumn morning in Willow Creek, a quiet town where the rhythm of life moved at a gentle pace. The sun had just begun its ascent, casting a warm golden hue over the rooftops and streets. The town's inhabitants were starting their day, shopkeepers opening their stores, joggers taking to the park trails, and children heading off to school. But amidst the everyday hustle, a story was about to unfold that would grip the hearts of everyone who heard it. A mysterious encounter. Sam Carter, a paramedic with over 15 years of experience, was driving the ambulance that morning with his partner, Emily Grant. They had just finished responding to a minor call and were heading back to the station when their radio crackled with a new emergency. An elderly woman had collapsed in her home on Maple Street. The urgency in the dispatcher's voice left no room for delay. Sam pressed the accelerator, and the ambulance's siren wailed through the sleepy streets. As they approached the intersection leading to Maple Street, something unusual happened. A large, scruffy-looking golden retriever darted into the middle of the road, barking frantically. Sam slammed on the brakes, bringing the ambulance to a screeching halt. The dog stood its ground, barking and wagging its tail with an odd mix of urgency and excitement. "What the heck is this dog doing?" Sam muttered, his frustration evident. Emily leaned forward, peering through the windshield. "Wait, Sam, look at him. He's not just aimlessly barking. It's like he's trying to tell us something." The dog barked again, then turned and ran a few steps ahead before stopping to look back at them, as if beckoning them to follow. "You've got to be kidding me," Sam said. But there was something about the dog's behavior that struck a chord. Emily placed a hand on his arm. "Let's follow him. What's the worst that could happen? We've still got time to reach Maple Street." Reluctantly, Sam nodded. He eased the ambulance forward, following the golden retriever down a narrow side street. The dog moved with purpose, occasionally glancing back to ensure they were still behind him. An unlikely guide, the streets grew quieter as they ventured further from the main road. The houses here were older, their facades weathered by time and neglect. The dog led them to a small, dilapidated house with a sagging porch and overgrown yard. He stopped at the front gate, barking incessantly before running up the porch steps and scratching at the door. Emily and Sam exchanged uneasy glances. "We can't ignore this," Emily said, already reaching for her medical bag. Sam sighed and followed her lead. They approached the house cautiously and knocked on the door. There was no response. From inside, however, they could hear faint, labored breathing. "We're going in," Sam declared, his paramedic instincts kicking in. He pushed the door open, revealing a dimly lit living room cluttered with old furniture and stacks of newspapers. On the floor lay an elderly man, his face pale and contorted in pain. He clutched his chest, struggling to breathe. "A life in the balance, sir. Can you hear me?" Emily asked as she knelt beside the man, quickly assessing his condition. The man managed a weak nod. "Heart attack," she said to Sam, who was already preparing the portable oxygen tank and defibrillator. The golden retriever, who had been standing anxiously at the door, trotted over and gently licked the man's hand. The man's eyes softened at the sight of the dog, and he managed a faint smile despite his pain. "Good boy, Max," he whispered before losing consciousness. Sam and Emily worked swiftly, stabilizing the man and preparing him for transport. Throughout the entire ordeal, Max stayed by his side, his expressive eyes filled with concern. "We're taking him to the hospital," Emily said, loading the man onto the stretcher. She glanced down at the dog. "Max, you coming?" The dog barked once, as if in agreement, and hopped into the ambulance without hesitation. The story unfolds. At the hospital, the man, whose name was Walter, underwent emergency surgery to clear a blocked artery. The doctors said he had been mere minutes away from a fatal outcome. As Walter recovered in the intensive care unit, Max became a fixture in the waiting area. Hospital staff and visitors alike were drawn to the loyal dog, who seemed to understand the gravity of the situation. Over the next few days, Walter regained his strength and began sharing his story. He explained that Max wasn't actually his dog. Max had appeared in the neighborhood a few weeks earlier, seemingly a stray. Walter had taken to feeding him scraps and talking to him during his lonely afternoons. "I guess he adopted me," Walter said with a chuckle, tears welling up in his eyes. And thank God he did. Walter's story spread quickly, capturing the attention of local news outlets. Reporters came to the hospital to interview him, and Max became an overnight sensation. People were moved by the dog's intuition and bravery. A deeper bond. As Walter recovered, he made a decision that surprised no one. He officially adopted Max. The two were inseparable from that day forward. Max seemed to understand Walter's every need, offering comfort and companionship in a way that words could never express. They became a familiar sight in the neighborhood, walking through the park or sitting together on Walter's porch. But the story didn't end there. Walter began volunteering at a local animal shelter, inspired by Max's incredible actions. Together, they worked to raise awareness about the importance of rescuing and adopting stray animals. Max's fame helped bring attention to the shelter, and adoptions increased dramatically. The power of loyalty. Max's story reminded everyone of the profound connection between humans and animals. It was a tale of loyalty, love, and the extraordinary ways in which animals can sense and respond to our needs. For Walter, Max wasn't just a pet. He was a guardian angel, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope. Years later, as Walter and Max sat together on their porch, watching the sunset, Walter often reflected on that fateful day. "You saved my life, Max," he would say, scratching the dog's ears. And Max, as always, would wag his tail, content to be by his side. A legacy of love. Max's actions inspired countless others to cherish and protect the animals in their lives. His story became a symbol of hope and resilience, proving that heroes come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes, they even have 4 legs and a wagging tail.